Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a vastly different, beautiful day here at Connecticut's Lime Rock Park as the Pirelli World Challenge Championships return to this absolutely historic, storied, and frankly, stunningly beautiful facility nestled in the northeastern Connecticut hills and in a park. Literally, it is a park setting, and it is actually a park and huge. I mean, a huge crowd on hand. The campers started pouring in early. It's just been an absolutely fantastic weekend. The weather wasn't particularly cooperative yesterday, although it could have rained a lot more than it did. It just kind of would have a drizzle and then dry, drizzle, dry. Today it is supposed to be dry, and everybody awoke to some sunshine this morning, and everybody camping out on the hillsides, and they are legion here, I'm sure, appreciating that nice dose of dryness quite a bit. And here's just a look at the absolutely glorious scenery here in this setting. As I said, it is just wonderful and always a delight for any series to come here, certainly for the Pirelli World Challenge Championships. And this is a day of race after race after race after race. We are going to have two races, as always, doubleheader weekend for all of the categories here. But this weekend, we actually, because of the size of the field, normally we'd run the touring cars along with touring car A, touring car B. Here, because of the size of the field combined, we had to split the big touring car class into a separate race. So there's two races for the touring cars, two for touring car A, touring car B, and both of the touring car A and touring car B races will unfold today. So lots of pressure on those guys with one day of racing. We will start with one of those races. That's what's coming up next. And then we just move into a tremendous flow. After that, we are going to have the second of the touring car category races. And then after lunch, it is just nonstop as we are going to have race two, I should say, of the Pirelli World Challenge Sprint X Championship for this doubleheader. Then we'll have the second of the two races this weekend for GTS Sprint, and then we finish with the second of the TCA, TCB races. So I think this is going to be a chock-full day of racing. Weather's supposed to cooperate. The crowd is excited. We certainly are. Don't have a lot of time when we come to visit this racetrack, but we certainly do enjoy the visits, and we are getting ready to go to the first race. Field is rolling out. We had a couple of cars that went out and just had hardship laps, and you can see them there, some touring cars that had some issues yesterday that are going to be running a little bit later on. But in just short order here, Jeff Lepper, we are going to see this field set out on their installation lap. This one will be a rolling start. This is kind of keeping us all on our toes because we don't usually have two races in one group on the same day. This will be the rolling start. And I'll tell you, Elevin Goulart was absolutely spectacular in yesterday's touring car opener and equally impressive in qualifying for touring car A. He's on pole. His teammate, points leader Matthew Fosnat alongside.
Yeah, the SAC Racing front row, Elevin Goulart in that Lotus, and TC, you mentioned that we'll see him right after this. He literally gets out of this car, gets in that Lotus, so if he wins, it might be a limited podium there for him.
Exactly.
Hey, here's my photo. I'm good. Hey, smile. Good. Okay, now I got to get back in my race car, so it's going to be really tight for him. A lot of track knowledge local here. He's got everything but pole in the TC race, so he's looking for that perfect sweep here this weekend.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Top four in TCA are the Mazdas, a couple of global MX-5 Cup cars, a couple of the NC, the previous generation MX-5 Cup cars. Fastest of the non-Mazdas is Tom O'Gorman driving the Shea Racing. Grid Life, Honda Civic, it's the new 1.5-liter turbo, had that tremendous run in the race, race number 2 up at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. But he said he had a little bit of an issue. He said after qualifying, they tweaked the boost down just a little bit on the car. He said he loves it on the very fast sweeping west bend and the downhill. The car is eating it up. But he said big bend all the way around onto the back straight. He said those Mazdas are just too nimble right now.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. This is a great handling track. The Mazda MX-5 has been known for its great handling, and then to see this new global MX-5 cup platform that's the domination that it's at now, where Goulart ran that at the VIR, and it says it really hurt him, he thinks, by not switching over to that new car right at the very beginning of the year. But we'll see how this plays out.
Absolutely.
There's still some dark horses in there. Eric Powell, who's starting in fourth. He's in the old NC chassis MX-5 with 3 of the NDs right in front of him. So we'll see if he can run those cars down And Tom O'Gorman, you know, we talked about that front-wheel drive car. His Paul Whiting starting right behind him. So
nice to have Paul back.
Right there, yeah.
Nice
he's trying to do the whole series. He wasn't able to get to Canada, so he's going to really try to make up some points here and see if he can get some good running, sitting 11th in the point standings now.
One of the things you see on the side of O'Gorman's car, he's got, obviously, you know, it's the Shea Racing as a team. He's got Grid Life, and it's a company that do motorsports lifestyle events. And he said it's kind of like a big party with cars. They have the Grid Life Festival at Gingerman, Western Michigan in June. Grid Life South is at Road Atlanta in August. They're pretty big events, and he's sort of their pro driver. So he's the guy that connects that automobile motorsports lifestyle thing to actual pro racing, and it's a pretty cool deal. And it's a great exposure for this series to a lot of people. You know, and he has become a tremendous advocate, and I think representative and ambassador for this series.
He really does, and of course, Tomo. You always got to watch Tomo, looking for that blue. He asked me last night, we were having dinner, and he said, you know, when I had the blue on my car at CTMP after the crash damage, the Tomo blue, he says, does that look okay? And he goes, because I have some on the front, and I'm like, honestly, I didn't even see it. So I think we're going to see a new wrap on the front of Tom O'Gorman Civic. We'll see that Tom O'Gorman blue on the whole front of that Civic Si.
Now, of course, there are two classes that are running in this race coming up, standard 40-minute race here. Touring Car B is the other one, and Kane and O'Connell, as I think we just got the command to fire up the engine, so we're getting closer. Kane and O'Connell, and pretty soon we're going to have to quit saying he's Johnny O'Connell's son, because he is putting up some tremendous races here this season. And once again, a tremendous run in qualifying. He'll start in the number 24 Techsport Chevy Sonic on pole, but local favorite, Indian Summer Racing's Travis Wache in that Mini Cooper that has always gone well here, starts on next to him on that front row.
Actually, first win he ever got in pro racing was right here last year.
Yep.
And to finish us out, he's going to look for much of the same here at his home racetrack. His cars are rolling out. Good shot of our Cadillac ATS-V pace car leading the field.
And there's that Touring Car A group as it comes out, and then there'll be just a little bit of a gap as we're going to do two pace and parade laps, and then we go racing. There's the number 24 Chevy Sonic leading out our touring car field. Travis Wache alongside, and sort of the revelation this year, that white number 6 Honda Fit of young Jake Pipel. He has been impressive.
He has, and that team actually bought a Mazda 2 at the beginning of the year from Eric Buscher and decided that the Honda Fit was going to be a little bit better platform for TCB, and boy has it, getting the wins at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, and still in high school, little young Jake there, so to see him out here racing and getting the win at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park shows you what that SVN Realtree machine can do.
Yeah, after his great runs at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, ran into him in the paddock. You just look at him, and he looks so young. You're not sure if you want to hug him, or being at our age, you just want to slap him. You know, because it's like, how can you be so young and talented? Great stuff. But, yeah, I think it's going to be a fun one. And I think it's a great idea, because had we had the touring cars out here, this field would have been immense. You'd just be living in traffic, getting balked all the time. This is going to allow these guys to really race. And the cool thing is, Jeff, it gives the Touring Car A guys a shot at an overall win. And that's just, I think, that just gives you a little bit more, I don't know, energy.
Yeah, it's a little extra motivation when you really think about it. It's like, okay, cool, I can actually get up here. I'm going to get all my TV time. I'm going to get up to the edge of getting the glory to be that race win, where the TCA is not really second fiddle to the TC cars,
right?
But they don't really get the coverage that they deserve, because some of the racing in TCA and TCB is the closest and tightest you'll see in all the categories of the Pirelli World Challenge. So to go through and see the number 21, Steve Strammer, that's a brand new entry for Techsport Racing, and that Mazda MX-5, and of course team principal Kevin Anderson driving the new Scion FRS in TCA, still trying to develop that platform. So he's still marred back in the field a little bit. We'll see if he can get that car up to speed here, with Tony Rivera campaigned that car a couple years ago and had some great success in that Scion FRS.
Starting in the 8th spot, another guy we should say welcome to, the 080, Richard Estacio. Nice to have him join the championship.
Another new SAC racing car, running 5 cars here this weekend. Local based here in Connecticut, which is good for them. So because of their home race, just down the street here, of course, Elevon Goulart, Ademir Fudamente that owns SAC Racing, Goulart's his son, and they actually was at the shop, and it's really got like a 5-bay old gas station shop, and he maintains about 30 different Mazda Miatas for local club racers, SCDA guys, and they transport cars to storage areas. He's got like 10 cars at one friend's house, and they just it's amazing to see the way that they work that, and then to have the racing program as well, bringing drivers up. And he did the same thing with Astacio. This is his first race in professional Pirelli World Challenge, but he's been a long-time competitor in club racing and moving his way up. So great to see teams like SAC Racing able to do that.
Well, and that connection down to club racing allows club racers to dip their toe in the water in pro racing, and then if they do well, just move on up the ladder, and that's something that Pirelli World Challenge does incredibly well with that sort of built-in ladder system. Lights are out on our Cadillac ATSV safety car, so we're going to be going racing here. There is that front row, SAC Racing, pole sitter Goulart, points leader Fasnacht, side by each as we get ready to head down the hill with Dean Copeland in the 07 and 23 Eric Powell alongside. Then on the inside of row 3 is O'Gorman. It's going to be interesting to see just who gets the launch here as the field down through the diving turn into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone and leading them up onto the straight for round 5 to commence here at Lime Rock Park. We are green, we are racing. Big look to the inside there by the 22 of Kevin Anderson from way back. Don't know what he'll be able to do. And look at this move up and around the outside. What a run by Eric Powell, but he floats too wide, Jeff.
Yeah, a little bit greasy out there, and of course you got all the marbles. He's going to go from third all the way out there, and then Laporte, see if he can get off the wall or not. Oh, he does, and just clips it right there on the end. And we saw that yesterday. This grass is so wet, and if you had that wheel turned, you might have bent something in the front. You see that right front really bent there, but see if we can just get a look. I think he tried to follow Eric Powell through there, and the marbles that are built up out there, the track is still green. There's been no action at all. There's no heat in the track, and just slipped off the track and hit the wall. We'll see if he can get back underway, or that could be a full course yellow, because if he got there, other cars can get there.
Well, and you make a good point. If you had the wheel straight, it would have been a glancing blow, and if you could back up and drive off, you might be okay. But if that wheel was turned and full course yellow, apparently something did break when he did just kiss that concrete. That'll be ultimately hugely frustrating for Eric, obviously, and could have maybe got away with it, but totally understandable. You're just steering away from that contact for anything you can do. So early full course caution here.
Well, Dean, I think they're going to stick with a local for right now, but Dean Copeland in second, started in the fourth place, moved his way up to second place, splits the two teammates. Eric Powell there behind Tom O'Gorman into fourth, so everybody working their way up, trying to see who got the bad start there. Is Tom O'Gorman up to fourth, but Eric Powell back to fifth.
And you're right. I thought I'd heard a call for a full course, and then they said, no, we're just going to go with a local yellow and let these guys race a little bit. And that's good news for everybody. Just keep it racing. And, of course, for the fans here, that is a great call to keep it green. But all this little bit of Dyson going on behind him, boy, I'll tell you, Element Goulart has just been able to hit the checkout button once again.
Well, he's got to hurry. He's got a TC race coming here, so he's trying to hurry up and get done as quick as he can. But Dean Copeland and Matthew Fasnacht, kind of the same livery in those two cars. As you see, the only difference really is the CMS on the side of Copeland's car, and then the SAC Racing sticker. As we go back to our TCB leaders with O'Connell leading over Jake Heupel and gotten around Travis Wachet there on the start.
Boy, and O'Connell has shown this MO this season. He gets to the front, especially when he's on pole, but if he gets to the front, he'll start to open up a sizable lead. But then traffic starts to develop, and pretty soon you see those cars behind him come on. And, you know, for everybody cheering here locally for Travis Wachet, the fact that he slipped to third, don't worry about it, because he tends to do that frequently. Just, you know, goes back and serves the Pirelli P0s just a little bit, and then comes after it. And I was going to ask you, you've driven and won in touring car B-spec cars on a track like this. Is now we do go full course yellow with all of this right hand on it. These are front drive cars. They don't have a huge tire on it. Just what kind of a pasting does that left front take, and how are they going to need to kind of conserve that?
It does. It really takes a beating here. There's one left-hand corner, like you said, and it's all right-handers. You'll do that a lot by rolling it into the corners. You might slow the car sooner before the corner with your braking, and then just let the car flow down onto that left front versus stabbing the brake, transferring the weight, and putting a lot of wear and tear on that left front tire.
Good battle here. PJ Gronke having a good race with Taylor Handwork. Look to the inside. And then, of course, I think you realized, full course caution. I better just tuck back in here. And here's the drill, though, for Element Goulart up front. You know, he had opened up a handy little margin of over a second over Copeland and Fasnacht, and you know, under the caution here, that evaporates, of course. I don't think this is going to be a long caution, so we'll be able to get back to racing. It'll be interesting to see whether Element can again make that gap happen in a hurry, or whether Copeland and Fasnacht decide, you know what, we're just going to work together here, not race each other, and try and stay with them, and then make the decision. And Tom O'Gorman has indeed moved up one spot from where he qualified. He slipped up into the fourth spot.
Yeah, Paul Whiting goes up to sixth place in his Honda Civic Si2. Local driving instructor at Spring Mountain, who, if you watch the news and the forums there, the Spring Mountain course there in Nevada, trying to be the world's longest road course. They're trying to build a bigger track than the Nürburgring out there in Las Vegas, so it should be interesting to see. And of course, Paul doing this all by himself, just
Yep.
and he looks just devastating there, right there at the first corner, first lap in that fixed auto Honda Civic.
Yep.
Eric Laporte ran the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park round, made his debut there, and shows up here, and unfortunately just got a little bit off in that gravelly stuff on the outside. And as Dorothy Strader would say, the gravelly stuff. It's a technical term when Dorothy Strader says it.
Exactly. And the big thing here is that, you know, normally the way he ran off, he'd just slow down, save it, turn, come back on track. But we had 2 days of near constant rain here, and it just, as this ground's so saturated, there's a reason this area is so green and beautiful, is it does get a fair amount of moisture. And it's just, you know, part of racing here. There's somebody else we should mention here. If you're looking online and you've looked at some of the grids, Daniel Moen does not show on one of the grids. He didn't even get out and qualify. They had a problem with a fuel supply, I guess, of some sort, and they didn't get a chance to go out and run, but he's been driving enough and certainly has a good enough skill set. He went to the stewards, and the stewards, you know, checked off, said, yeah, you can start at the back of the pack. And he's worked his way up now. He's into the top 10, so he's picked up a spot from where he started. And one thing this track isn't easy to do here, Jeff, is pass.
No, it's not. And I saw the very tail end of the field, Blake Thompson in his Mazda 2. Got to give him a good shout out, as he said he finished last yesterday. He's running last again today. So he's Mr. Consistency is Blake Thompson there. And, you know, good friends, we can joke about that a little bit. But he's out here having us fun, making his debut at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park around as well. So doing the double header here with Lime Rock Park. Hopefully we'll get to see him a little bit later in that iSellMeAutoParts.com Mazda 2.
Yep, nice to have him as part of the program here. We had a shot just a moment ago. You could see all of the response vehicles and our Cadillac Escalade medical vehicle on the site, trying to get that car moved as quick as we can. And it'll be interesting to see here just how bad the damage was on the front of that car. The only thing that might delay this a little bit, Jeff, is that they have to actually get it up. If it's comprehensively broken on that corner, they have to get it up on a tilt bed. But if they can just hook it up and move it, hopefully we'll be able to get back and running here. Again, 40 minutes timed events here, and it's just, you know, other than a lunch break here, it's virtually nonstop here on day 2 at Lime Rock Park.
Yeah, exciting stuff for people watching online at motorsportondemand.com and world-challenge.com. Get to watch 5 races here today, all part of the Pirelli World Challenge at Lime Rock Park. Taylor Handwork, not Tyler, it's Taylor. We called him Tyler at the first race of the round, so I apologize for him. And PJ Gronke, unfortunately, at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park round, was on the top step of the podium. His first win in Pirelli World Challenge, and decided that because of the melees that they had, there was a passenger yellow before the session went on the timing mark, and since it was a red flag, it wasn't a passenger yellow, since it was a red flag, he had passed just before the red flag, so reverted to the prior lap for a red flag. And since he did not have that pass complete, he unfortunately finished second over Jake Piper. So a little devastating, heartbreaking. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy with PJ Gronke to try to get that win. He's still searching for that, and hopefully that's coming soon.
If it would have happened,
it would have been
mega.
Great.
You know, while we're under caution, maybe a good time to just, you know, take a quick look at the points here. And this is an opportunity here for Eleven Goulart, who comes in second to his teammate Matt Fosnot, who swept the opening rounds at VIR and really has had a great season so far. Those 2 wins and also I think 2 more podiums, so he has just been hooked up. Eleven came in here now at the start of this weekend. He was 8 points behind him, now 7, because Eleven got the point for the pole. Then another little bit of a gap back to Copeland. So those 2 guys right now in a position to make up a little bit of ground on Matt Fosnot in terms of the points. Eric Powell came in 4th in the points and only 6 behind Copeland, and you can see he was pretty aggressive on that start, thinking let me see if I can move up a little bit here. And then Tom O'Gorman sits in 5th, and that's why it's nice to see that Daniel Moen, they were able to solve the problem and at least get him out, because Daniel was just outside of that top 5. So this is important for him too.
It really is. And they're trying to get a split start here for the TCB cars as they come down the hill. The lights are still on. They just got Eric Laporte's Honda Civic cleared. So we'll see if we can get the cars back around. They asked the pace car to pick up, so it is going to be getting word from race control, green next time by. So they're trying to speed up the safety car just a little bit to get going, but we'll see all these tires start clearing off their Pirelli P0 tires. You see them going back and forth. Got a good shot there a little bit earlier. Brian Henderson, he ran Virginia International Raceway, did not make the Canadian round in that Copeland Motorsport MX-5 Global Cup car. And now he's back here in Pirelli World Challenge competition, so he should be up there running in the 6th position.
And just looking at the Touring Car B championship points, Jake Pipal, with the season he's had, never off the podium here in a couple of wins, has the points lead. PJ Gronke in the number 25 sits in second, and only 2 behind him is Travis Wache in the Indian Summer Racing entry, and Taylor Handwerk, also running in an Indian Summer Racing Mini Cooper, would be 4th in the points. And then Kanan O'Connell, for all his speed, he's just had a couple of issues, and he had a DQ as well, and that's dropped him back into 5th. I get the feeling for Kanan, though, that's just going to be extra motivation for him to go after it here, because he certainly has the speed and the skill set.
It will be, and you talk about those bonus points as a point for if you're on the pole for the first race in qualifying, and then, of course, the fastest race lap now will determine the grid for later today when they race second race, and that's worth another point. So you talk about points, 6 rounds,
yep.
12 races, that's 12 bonus points if you can get all the poles. That's a position.
Oh, and we've seen a lot of championships that have been decided by far less than 12 points, so that's a big deal. There goes the Cadillac ATS. That is the safety vehicle, and it's opening that margin up, giving the room to the field as they come into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone to get that going. Kanan dropping back, giving a little bit of a gap to this group, and here we go down the hill into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. Elevin Goulart, the green and black number 70 Global MX-5 Cup machine, rolls into the throttle early, and I'll tell you what, Dean Copeland read that to perfection, and Goulart knew it. He knew, I have to go defend, and look at this squeeze move down to the inside. Defense there by Fasnacht as O'Gorman took a shot at it, and again, Powell staying a little bit more outside, thinking if something happens, I can maybe get around.
Yeah, they were trying to see if he could sweep around that outside again, and that Tech Sport Racing Mazda wasn't able to do it. Tom O'Gorman trying to see if he can put a draft on those Mazdas. They're kind of small and compact, and that Honda Civic Si sticks out a little bit. Don't think he's going to get that much of a draft, but Fasnacht trying to see if he can get around Copeland, kind of help his teammate out there as he's leading right now. Looking to the inside on the downhill.
Boy, if he can get established on the inside, and there he is. He's there, and he's through. So Fasnacht sneaks by Dean Copeland. Now, did that disrupt Copeland enough for O'Gorman to get a drive down the hill here and do something down into Big Bend on Copeland? I have to watch that. Both, by the way, Fasnacht and O'Gorman got warnings from race control. They were a little bit too far to the right. We're over on that pit lane blend line, and there you can see O'Gorman. That Dean Copeland, that looked to me like he reacted to O'Gorman showing the nose there. That might be a little warning too. You get one, and then you start to get penalized here. But everybody trying to use, as is the nature of a race car driver, is use every bit of racetrack.
I think Copeland actually breathed it a little bit on the top of the downhill to let Fasnacht go once he knew he was there, because he didn't want O'Gorman to stick his nose down. There's Eric Powell, big tank slapper on the right side coming in there through turn number 4.
Yeah, that back end just stepped out sizably, didn't it? And once again, just that little bit of a battling between Fasnacht and Copeland has allowed Goulart to establish that slight lead. And let's be honest here, we know how important track knowledge could be at that place, and Goulart's got a lot.
He does, and Eric Powell, he's no shy to running a car sideways, the stunt driver, so he's used to jumping cars, putting them on 2 wheels, getting them sideways. As you look back further in our TCA field, a good shot there of Pistachio and his SAC Racing Mazda MX-5. Right behind him, Kevin Anderson, and then Steve Streamer doing his first race, and then back to our TCB with Kanan O'Connell, Jake Pipel, and now Jake under attack by Travis Wache, and that's allowed PJ Gronke to close in a little bit into the battle for second.
Man, Kanan once again just opening it up a little bit up front. He finds speed on when the Pirelli P0s are not at their best in terms of tire temperature and pressure. The guys that can do that, they're in that special group where they can just find that speed right now. Things might equalize when everybody else gets their tires up to temp and pressure, but if you can get that gap, I mean that pays huge dividends throughout the entirety of the race.
Saw Tyler Handwerk right behind his teammate Travis Wache down that straightaway, trying to see if he can push his teammate along, get around Jake Pipel. But I think there's a couple other guys that you talk about that are able to manage those tires the way he's doing it. Yep. And I think he learned that probably from Dad, maybe. Johnny O'Connell was the king of doing that on cold tires, going out and setting a qualifying lap and getting it done.
Yeah. Few are better in the global world of sports car racing and tire management than Johnny O. So I'm sure Kanan studied closely, smart lad that he is. But good battle here for second behind him at this point. Pipeball really feeling the pressure, as you said, from Wache and Gronke.
Yeah, really really pushing it there, and you see Wache now able to see if he can draft, kind of go to the inside, see if he can make a move down here, and Jake Pipe will let him go, which is really good. I think there's a lot left to go in this race. We're not even to halfway yet. Maybe to battle a little bit there, but I don't think you're going to want Travis Wache on your home track to get away from you.
Well, nor do I think. I think Pipe will realize that if he tried to fight that, they'd both get slowed down, and then Kanan would be just gone down the road. I think that was a very savvy move, and now we'll see if they're able to work together. And behind them, Taylor Handwork was able to sneak by Gronke and pick up that 4th spot.
Handwork got him back around again. Ella Von Goulart just sets the fastest race lap. First car down to the 59s here this morning. Fosnot answers as well. Only 0.07 of a second off, but a good battle here for second still. Travis Wache, Jake Pipel going to try to see if he can return the favor to Handwork. I don't think he's got the distance there coming down the downhill, and PJ Gronke starting to drop back just a little bit.
One of the things that I love is that the touring cars here can still run the classic layout here, where you've got that high-speed run up into the climbing, through the climbing turn up into West Bend, and boy, they just push the envelope there. Totally understandable why, cars like especially the Sprint X GT3 machinery and their remarkable speed use the climbing S layout, but still fun to watch these cars up and over that climbing turn, and now the diving turn. This one is spectacular. And while we were watching battling in Touring Car B, Tomo Gorman has moved up into 3rd. Here's a look at it, Jeff.
Yeah, just got the good draft coming down the downhill, gets to the inside, able to make that clear, and I think Copeland gave a little bit there as well, but Tomo Gorman, that power from that turbocharged Honda Civic Si, able to get it done over that Mazda.
Now, he said he can really float good speed through West Bend and the downhill. He said the car's sticking it there and really working. And then you saw, though, for him to really make it work through Big Bend and setting up for the right-hander, he had to really get those right-side tires up on the curbs to get it to plant and the like. So he's working hard, no question.
Yes, Eibach on the side of that car, Lucas Oil, Black Armor helmets, got a lot of help for Tomo Gorman. Of course, with Honda, they got the accident that he had that you saw at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park when he T-boned the Lotus in the touring car class, and they shows up here at Lime Rock Park and has just literally crates full of parts for the front end of that car. So good job from his team. Andy Hollis helping him out, a long-time SCCA Autocross national champion is Hollis, so they're helping him out. A lot of good help, especially with the Shea Racing team crew.
Yeah, it should be pointed out that Tomo, was caught up in an accident that was unfolding in front of him and just literally had nowhere to go. And a great response. Part of the great story was the fact that, he said after the accident, he said, I knew the car was damaged. He said, but as I drove it back to the pits, I knew right away it's mechanically sound. It's just, body damage. And he said, so we knew we were, going to be able to race. But, gee, we just didn't want to race this brand new Honda Civic with, that new platform that hadn't even been on, put on sale with damage on it. The first race, he goes, as I'm pitting, my crew guys look up and see one driving through the paddock. And it turns out it was a Honda Canada rep. They'd given them some cars to use kind of as showcase cars. And what I think they had to they couldn't find them, so they went up and actually told a little fib to the PA guys so that they could try and find them.
They told them the headlights were on, so we need to get you. So the guy went out back to the car, and they're sitting there waiting for him. Like, he's probably going to get beat up or something. But they were able to pull that car into the tent, pull the front end off of it, borrow it, and then return it. They had the whole car wrapped in that Tomo Gorman blue, and he's got a little bit on the front end now. You see Eric Powell trying to make a move over Copeland now. Copeland, I'm not sure what's happening with him. He's near the front of this field, especially at the start, and now starting to fall back a little bit.
He is an absolute gun in these Global MX-5 Cup cars. Runs the MX-5 Championship as well as this, and he's been in Spec Miata. If anybody knows how to drive a Mazda Miata or MX-5 Miata platform, whatever, fast, it is Dean Copeland. And I suspect you're right. I think maybe something's just not quite right with that car at this point.
Just missed the setup here. It is the sun is out. They've been all weekend long, including testing. It was been wet and cold, and now we have nice bright sunshine here. And it does require a different setup at this track. You think as small as it is in the turns here, but if you're off by a half a second on a 10 turn, you're missing it by almost a full second, half second to a full second lap.
I was just watching him through the downhill, Jeff, and that car doesn't look particularly happy. It looked like he had to make 2-3 corrections coming down that hill, and every one of those is a time robber.
It really is. When you anytime you turn that wheel or jerk it back in there, you're just scrubbing time off that car. And looking at Good shot once again of Eric Powell. That Tech Sport Racing team, Kevin Anderson, 5 cars here this weekend. A lot of multi-car teams here as Jake Peipel does not want to give up over Travis Wache. Coming down here on the downhill, there's Taylor Handwerk.
Yeah, right now, Kanan has a about 3.5 second lead back to this battle. But the battle for second and the battle for fourth, both very, very stout here. Wache over Peipel. Peipel's so close right now, and then Handwerk over Grunk as we head down into Big Bend.
Really see PJ Gronke got his head back down and starting to battle back with Taylor Handwerk to see if he can get that move. Jake Peipel looking inside and outside in his Honda Fit, trying to find a way around Travis Wache for that second place. So second and third in the race, and you're looking back at fourth and fifth in the TCB. It's got a good shot there. The only left-hander on this course, Elevon Goulart, starting to come through the back of our TCB field now.
Yep. I thought for a minute, sorry, that PJ might try and pop down the inside in entering the climbing turn. And if you can get alongside, you can make that work. If you don't, then you're going to be slow all the way up that turn. And I think PJ realized, yeah, I'm not going to get there if I try it, and then I'm really going to be in trouble. Smart read by PJ. And again, he looked like he was looking to the inside, thinking about it on the downhill, and again decided the better of that. And that's part of what we were talking about this track being tough to pass, especially in cars that are so equal. As Peipel now looking to return the favor on Wache, and Travis just says, yeah, I got this one covered still. But because all of these, it's such a momentum track, and you're entering all the corners with a pretty good head of steam and flow, it's not like there's any place on this track where you just jump on the binders hard and can really just make one of those late braking moves. It's all got to be set up by getting a better run from the preceding corner, doesn't it?
And they do that for the balanced performance. Some cars will handle better. Some cars will have better straight line speed. Some cars are better at braking. If you have a car that's better at braking, like you said, all momentum here, you lose that advantage. So now you're trying to pressure the guy like Jake Peipel's trying to do to see if he can make a mistake. You might get on the inside and scare him a little bit, as there's Matthew Fosnot actually spun off there. Oh, got to be careful coming back over there. That was on the exit of turn number 4, I believe.
Yep, just that right-hander that leads onto No Name. And, wow, that is absolutely huge, running in second at the time. So that's going to be very, very costly. And now things are going to get interesting here, because Elevon Goulart now is coming up and getting into the back of the Touring Car B traffic here. And this is opportunity for O'Gorman with Fosnot out of the way. As they come by, O'Gorman now 6 seconds back of Elevon Goulart. He needs Elevon to get absolutely parked in traffic somewhere to be able to take a couple of big chunks out at different stages here. I mean, he's got, 18 minutes, just a tick under, yet to run here, but he needs help.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there with O'Gorman and Fosnot, if there was anything going on, but O'Gorman had a 102. Is looking at Elevon Goulart, working that traffic there. Woo! Wow, he knows his track knowledge here, knows where he can put that MX-5.
And look at PJ Gronke seeing how he got the 77 handwork a little offline a bit, and PJ said thank you and turned underneath. But Goulart's move threading those two, going basically to the outside of PJ and then up and underneath, heading into the climbing turn. That was a thing of beauty, and it looks like he might be able to get the entire TCB field. He does. Oh, and a problem now for Thompson. That's on the climbing turn.
You don't see any damage there.
Yeah.
Maybe he saved it before he hit the wall there. And we'll see. But yeah, Elevon Goulart just kind of like a lapping day here. See if we can take a look here as Blake Thompson just way sideways and loses it. Comes right. Just a little kiss.
Yeah.
Push that mirror back out. He'll be okay. Doesn't look like there's any damage there.
Yep, and all on his own, so he's able to drive off. We will continue to stay green here in race. But once Goulart got that pass made on handwork, he got into the climbing turn pretty quickly and tighter than normal. But again, that's the track knowledge. He knew what kind of road he had on the outside there to be able to play with. And I think he now is going to pad that lead. O'Gorman maybe got 2-3 tenths just while Goulart was reading things, but now O'Gorman is stuck. And this really played well for Goulart.
Yeah, Gorman was a half a second quicker the previous lap. This lap, he's only about a tenth quicker. He got hung up a little bit coming down the hill. You saw that with PJ Gronke. Eric Powell, fastest guy in the course that last lap with a minute flat. So he's trying to play catch up as well to see if he can run down the Honda Civic Si of O'Gorman. But Goulart really got through all this traffic now. O'Gorman's going to get hung up again by Wache, and Pipe will here through the left-hander and then into No Name.
And right now, Goulart has fast. No, 51 of Paul Whiting having a moment here.
Six spun off there in turn number 1. You can see how wet it is. Those slicks are all wet there. No damage, no contact. I don't see anything there. Just got into, it is damage with Fosnot getting to the inside there. Wow. Tell you what, you have a mistake like Fosnot did and spin off earlier and you get marred back in there trying to work your way back up. You might make a little bit of an aggressive move, and I'm sure race control will start looking at that, and the stewards will look at that to see if there might be a possible penalty for your points leader, Fosnot.
Yep. Sometimes, you get that red mist when you end up off the track, and you have to learn how to use it to your advantage and really focus it and not let it get the better of you. And Matt may have been just a little frustrated there and pushed the envelope just a tad. I was going to say that right now Goulart has fast lap in touring car A at this stage. Only guy, with the exception of Matt Fastnot himself, to dip under the 1 minute mark at a 59.6. Both of them at 59.6 as Goulart just a few hundredths quicker. In touring car B, it looks to me right now like it is still Kanan O'Connell who's got fast lap at a 1 minute 4.1.
Yeah, remember that's important because that sets the grid for later today. I keep trying to say tomorrow, but don't race on Sundays here at Lime Rock Park, and it's a double race show here as Tom O'Gorman just now getting by the leader. And you see how much Eric Powell, he caught the traffic on the straightaway where O'Gorman was catching it in the curves. And you really got to maintain on your momentum here, especially at this track, on where you're going to catch the lap traffic. You might slow down just a little bit to catch them on the corner to not bulk you down the straightaway. It's that delicate chess match on wheels.
Absolutely. 14 minutes to go.
Two teammates getting past there as Eric Powell goes by Kanan O'Connell leading the B-Spec. But see that last lap by, Powell once again quicker than O'Gorman by a second and a half.
Oh, traffic, man, that's huge, isn't it?
Just like Eric Powell has a better car in the long run, too. You're asking that front-wheel drive Honda Civic Si to do a lot with those Pirelli P0s in the front. It handles the braking, the acceleration, the turning, all the loads it puts on here. And, of course, the Mazda MX-5s handle so much better at being that rear-wheel drive roadster type car, and that's what they've been known for. And so we'll see here at the 13 minutes to go, can Eric run him down?
Fun to watch right now. Goulart up the road to still right about 6 seconds. It's been as high as 6.2. It's been down to 5.5. It's at 5.8 right now. So he's controlling things beautifully from the front. So yeah, the real interest here is starting to build in that battle for second overall in a touring car. And of course, seeing now Copeland is 5 seconds clear of Fosnot in fourth. Fosnot in fifth. They are reviewing, by the way, that incident between Fosnot and the 51 of Whiting. Haven't heard anything at this stage on that.
Eric Powell, once again, fastest car on course, 1 minute, .310, picked up 3/10 over O'Gorman at a 6:01. Your leader, Goulart, pacing it a little bit at a 1:01.064. 5.3 seconds is the gap. It was 5.7, but he did have a lap car that he had to deal with. So we'll see if that helps. But right now, Eric Powell on the charge and on the hunt.
That's a very smart thing, obviously, for Goulart to do because you've got a big lead. Backpedal it a little bit, save those P0s just in case you get a caution, and that margin evaporates, so you've got something to fight with if you come up under attack. And that's, again, just the savviness of that green and black Global MX-5 Cup car from SAC Racing, the
SCDA. Go to scda1.com. They do track days right here at Lime Rock. It's a family atmosphere. Autocrosses, skid pads, car control, teen driving clinics. It's an awesome gig. As you see, Tom O'Gorman now is surrounded by tech sport racing vehicles. He's got Eric Powell on the prowl behind him, Steve Strimmer right in front of him, and then right in front of that is team owner Kevin Anderson in the FRS. So Tom O'Gorman looks sort of like a sitting duck here. He's going to want to try to get around these teammates here pretty quick.
See if he gets it done. Yep, nice job there. And it was nice to see the 21 of Streamer just open the wheel up and recognize, if I try and slow him up, it's going to be pretty obvious here, and it wouldn't be the right thing to do. So nice to see that, absolutely.
Hopefully he doesn't slow up his teammate here.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He goes right out there. So yeah, good heads up driving there by Streamer, making his debut here in Pirelli World Challenge this season.
Now here's a question for you. We've been watching, and Powell down into Big Bend and in some other corners, he tends to get the car a little sideways and sort of pitch it in sometimes on the brakes. And that's not particularly kind to those tires, is it?
No, it is not. You're going to start heating up these Pirelli P0 tires, and any tire you do, you can always overheat it or work it. As Tom O'Gorman trying everything he can to get around Kevin Anderson quickly, and Kevin, held his line where he was supposed to do. Yep. Didn't weave or bob there, so good heads up by him. But you can really see Eric Powell closing the gap on O'Gorman, was fastest last time by as well. So he's right there on the back bumper on that Civic Si now.
Boy, yeah, it's a numbers game is not working in Tom O'Gorman's advantage here at all at this stage, as like you said, he's just come across a number of cars from the same team, and they've all done a nice job of leaving the room, but it's not like that any of them have really got out of the way, handling or everything. They don't have to make it. They don't have to make it particularly easy. And Powell now right there, Jeff, and O'Gorman realizing this battle is on, and Powell, he loves working this outside line. Let's see if he can make it stick. Look
he
at
does.
that.
And if he holds it here, he'll have the inside for the left-hander. He does. He sticks it right back there on the exit. Tom O'Gorman give him just enough room. Eric drops off, but it's going to be Eric Powell's position here. Maybe not. O'Gorman sticks it to the outside. What a great move from Tomo.
Yep. Now he's got to make it work. Powell's going to try the over-under, and that was absolutely excellent by O'Gorman as he put that Honda at the exit of that turn right where Powell wanted to go. That was great racecraft.
Yeah, you're allowed to do that. You can pick your line. Now, if O'Gorman would have went back to the left, that would have been blocking, but he didn't. He held it right there on the inside. Perfectly legal. Great racing.
As a matter of fact, in one of the drivers' meetings, some of the drivers who said, yeah, well, that was a dumb move because you can't go side by side through that corner. And the steward said, that's wrong. You can go side by side through every corner. You may actually have to slow down, but it can happen. And if somebody is established, you need to give them that racing room. And these two guys did that, and it's going to happen once again here.
Yeah, Eric Powell trying to go to the outside, but they got Saley, I believe, in that B-Spec Ted in that Mazda 2. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to use him as a pick or not. Eric Powell wasn't able to make it stick this time. Slots back in, lived to fight another day. 8.5 minutes to go in this race.
Look at O'Gorman, just breathed it a little bit so he wouldn't catch Ted right at the apex of the right-hander onto the back straight. There's Shea Holbrook and the entire team watching what's unfolding.
Trying to watch their teammate and see if they can get this. Watching Eric Powell, and O'Gorman drops that wheel off there on the exit coming down to the downhill. He's done that twice. That's going to kill his momentum going down the hill. You got to be very careful with that. But Eric Powell trying to see if he can catch a little bit of a draft on O'Gorman. O'Gorman doing a great job here defending and picking his line, which is what he's supposed to do. Eric Powell forced to go back to the outside again, trying to make that line work. A little too deep there. You saw him get loose and fight that wheel. You can see it just turning, and he wasn't able to get alongside of him at all. That's how much he got loose entering turn number 1.
So we're talking 7 minutes, 45 seconds left to go in this race. That's probably 8 laps. That's a long time for O'Gorman to survive this level of attack.
You want to know how close Tom O'Gorman and Eric Powell are? How about this? Tom O'Gorman, a 1 minute flat 7.73. Eric Powell, a 1 minute flat 7.72. 1/1000th of a second quicker was Eric Powell that last lap. That's I can't even say it fast enough.
And I love that. Just hear that rev jump by those cars as they came up over the crest of the hill at the end of the climbing turn, and just get a little bit light. And now there's no traffic or anything. We'll see if O'Gorman, who said the car is good through this part of the track, if he was able, without any traffic in front of him in that run, to be able to gap Powell just a little bit. It looks like he did, Jeff.
Yeah, he
just
did.
enough.
Just enough there. He's got that little bit of a drive. This was the first lap he didn't drop a wheel on the downhill, so I think that did help him as Eric Powell trying to stick it back to the inside. And you see the Tech Sport Racing team focused on if Eric can get this done.
Up front, Goulart now still just maintaining that margin to absolute perfection, driving the gap, as they say, 5.5 seconds. That's where he's put it. And when these guys end up running a little slower lap because of the battling they're doing, Goulart just backs it off, saves those tires just a little bit, just in case. Behind O'Gorman and Powell, Fosnot now is back by some 12 seconds. So these guys absolutely unfettered from any efforts or pressure from behind. They can just focus on this battle for position, and it is superb.
Yeah, and they're actually being nose to tail like this. They're lapping about 3-4 tenths quicker than Goulart. Obviously, in the closing stages here, there's not going to be enough time to run him down in case there's a problem. Only if there's a problem with Goulart, I mean. But still, once again, another half second quicker than Goulart.
I'm waiting at some point for Powell just to say, you know what, this like right there, this hasn't worked. I'm going to try and get down to the inside. But boy, he made that very abrupt turn, collected that curb, and it loosened the car up, and then suddenly he loses some ground, but now more traffic in front of Tomo.
Yeah, getting over here with that Blake Thompson, once again, that Mazda 2. They should both clear him down no name here before they turn right to go up to the uphill. And yeah, Blake does a great job getting right out of the way there and doesn't want to get any way in there.
And you made the comment, the text board by, guys standing there chewing their nails just a little bit. Kurt Hansen, good energy down there, but maybe a little nerves.
Jim, talk to us about this drive.
Elevon is he's just a hell of a driver, and we're really happy to be here this weekend. Pirelli World Challenge, it's just a fantastic series to run in. This is our second year in it, and we're really enjoying running with these guys. Great competition, great crowd. How can you beat it?
Terrific. We got about 3 minutes to go. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's so close, Kurt, down into Big Bend. Powell again trying to work the outside. There may have even been the slightest touch, and now Powell trying the over-under and trying to establish to the right and give him the inside run onto No Name. And O'Gorman just again putting that Honda exactly where Powell wants to go. Boy, this is absolute cat and mouse driving by these two guys at its best, Jeff.
Yeah, I got a good pit lane interview from Elevon Goulart's crew chief there, leading this race in a commanding lead now down to 4.7 seconds. So they still are catching them, but with 4 minutes to go, like they said in that interview there, Goulart sort of just pacing this field, making sure he doesn't do anything. But the battle on, best battle on the track right now for second place, almost nearly identical lap times with both these drivers. And Eric Powell desperately trying everything he can, any way he can get around Eric Powell. And you got to be careful there. Yep, Eric Powell going to the outside. You can't go back as Tom O'Gorman. Eric Powell's only option here is to go to the outside.
Yep, and boy, for O'Gorman, he got 4 minutes left, and they're going to be the longest 4 minutes of his life at this stage. Oh, up on the curb. Oh, Powell, little wiggle there, and I think O'Gorman got up on that curb, and and look at O'Gorman there opening the door back up just to say, in case you can get there, I know that I ran a little wide. And now Powell knifes to the inside.
Something wrong with O'Gorman. There's a flat tire. I think he's got a left front down.
Yep, exactly. Oh, man.
Not sure what happened there. What a battle for second place, but Tom O'Gorman, left side down there. Unfortunate.
Was that the left front? Because there may have been, I thought there may have been, they were so close. I wonder, you don't need much of a touch if you touch the tire at just the right spot and can snap that stem off. And I wonder if that maybe isn't what happened. Oh, what a shame.
Oh, definitely. This is going to hurt him in the championship as well. He'll drop, the worst he can finish is 12th here if everybody can get around him. But that Shea Racing crew, he'll bring it on pit lane. They'll get that tire fixed and see if he can get back underway. They were able to lap a few of the TCA cars, so it's very important for him to come down here and get this done. Let's see if we can take a look and see what happens here.
So right there, it's already down.
It's already down right there, so we're not sure if it went there, but Eric Powell able to take advantage of that. That's going to move Matthew Foston, who had problems earlier, up into that third place.
Yep. And you can, at that point, as he started to transition to the right hand, you could almost see the car slip down. I think if there was a touch, it was going into Big Bend, starting that lap when they may, and if it was just a very light touch.
I don't think that was enough of a hit to.
So
let's see if we can take a replay look here to see if we can see if there's any contact whatsoever here as they come down in.
Right.
Nice and clear there, nice and clear. You'll see O'Gorman get up on the curb here, bounce over, and
right there.
It looks like right there was a touch, yeah. O'Gorman got on that curb and it bounced the car over, so I got to think, like you're right, Greg, it got that valve stem or something on the wheel and the rim there, where that tire is so loaded and folded over on the sidewall with all the load there in turn number one. You take one little hit and it just maybe pop the bead right off the tire.
And for Matt Fosnot, boy, I'll tell you that even though he wasn't in that fight, he benefits from it, particularly in terms of the points at this stage. And he's going to be loving that, and he's going to really be appreciating that Powell was working O'Gorman over to help him here at this stage. Now, keep in mind, though, that Eric Powell, sits fourth in the points right now, so he was pretty amped about being able to get there because he's going to be in a pretty solid battle in the points between himself, Copeland, and the like. But Goulart is the guy who's really going to be driving away here. Meanwhile, in Touring Car B, it is still Kanan O'Connell with a lead of almost 6 seconds at this stage, as we're anticipating white flag this time by, with Peipel in second and Gronke in third. But Travis Wache is, well, he's actually lost just a little bit of ground to Gronke at this point. Last time by, he was glued to his rear bumper.
Yeah, drop race later today here, but the flag, set the fastest race lap so far. He'll start from pole tomorrow unless anybody can do it here on the, or start from pole again today. There I go again.
I know, it's so easy.
Elevon Goulart right there with Jake Peipel as well, but your race leader, just a superb job. That's going to win the TC race yesterday, TCA today. So far, 2 for 2.
Yep, and an overall win here for a TCA car. That's pretty special stuff as well. Here comes Powell in second. Gets in between Gronke and Wache. That's a bit of a gift. As obviously, here comes Goulart down the hill. And starting off this day like he finished yesterday with a win, this time in Touring Car 8, coming to the line. The Global MX-5 Cup platform wins at Lime Rock Park. And what a story there. And there is the number 23 of Powell as he comes by. And, of course, Kanan O'Connell was in front of Goulart, so he's going to have to come around and pick up the checker. However, from second on back, Peipel, Gronke, and the group have already taken the checker, so O'Connell can just enjoy this last lap, as I'm sure Elevon Goulart is enjoying his cool-down lap.
He is. I'm sure he's smiling in there. He's got a lot of fans here. I'm sure they got a lot of tickets they had to buy for friends and family members to get him in here to the track for the home race for SAC Racing and all the crew people that help him out. What a great job by Elevon Goulart. Of course, the Lotus that he drives, that's by Krug Speed, not SAC Racing, but able to step into that platform as well and get the race win there. And that race is coming up directly after this, so he'll want to get out of that car, get the interview done, and get back underway.
And here comes Kanan O'Connell, who'll come down to officially pick up the checker flag, as he was in front of the overall race leader. So Kanan O'Connell puts together another great drive. You can see him celebrating wildly inside that car. He earned this one. And you can see his season hasn't been absolutely pristine. Just take a look at that left front corner of that car. He's overcome some adversity, but what a stellar drive today. I mean, the official margin of victory doesn't really count here because he ended up a lap almost clear of everybody just by when the checker came out. But still, I mean, he had a 6-second margin starting that last lap. That's a ton in Touring Car B.
It is. When you make a 6-second gap, usually these are some of the closest races we got. But there is Elevon Goulart celebrating down there on pit lane.
I wonder if he could set a record here potentially in a weekend of racing here. He could get 4 wins possibly. That's pretty much, I don't know that anybody's ever done that on one weekend. But Elevon climbs out of the car, carbon fiber black helmet. There's the celebration.
There's Dad right there.
Here's Dad coming in, loving this moment. And Kurt Hansen is down there and ready. As soon as that helmet comes off, they'll get ready to go, and Elevon just can't take this helmet off because of the celebrations. Now it's off. Let's get down to Kurt.
Elevon, this is becoming habit forming. A win yesterday, a win today. You got one more race to go. Can you triple head this thing?
Two more. One more TCA and one more TC. That was just got out in the front, got hit from behind in the beginning, and managed to save the car. Just race management after that. But it was fantastic. The crew did an awesome job, get the car set up properly, and it was pretty hooked up.
It helps to know this place like the back of your hand, though.
It does, just knowing when to go fast and when to slow down a little bit more. But I can't be happier than being at home and bringing home another win. Thanks to Mazda, thanks to SCDA, SAC crew, and all our sponsors. Phenomenal race. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, my bad. So maybe a grand slam this weekend.
I hope so. Well, we'll keep going. Keep going.
Stuff.
I'm not great at math, and I'll throw that up right now, but with the point for pole and the point for pole that he just got, and the gap between first and third, I think going into this afternoon's race, he and Fosnach could be dead even.
Oh, that'd be awesome if they were at that way.
That's going to be incredible. Here I'll look at the results. The top 3, Powell, a great run that he and O'Gorman had a superb one going, and just sad what happened to Tomo. But Copeland there in 4th. Brian Henderson, a good drive up into that 5th spot.
Yeah, Mazda in the top 5. Paul Whiting in the Civic able to recover from that earlier spin into 6th. Richard Astachio, his debut in Pirelli World Challenge, finishing in 7th. Daniel Moen in 8th. Great run for him, not getting a lot of practice time. Steve Stramer in 9th, and Tom O'Gorman able to complete that top 10, get that tire changed. So good job for that team and getting him back underway.
Yep, absolutely. That's just what you have to do here. You have to go after those points. And, of course, there's a lot of effort put in by a lot of people. It's not all about the drivers, the team, and there's the sponsors and supporters and the like. And so when you have a problem on track, you may just want to, I'm fed up, I want to stop. You don't, because you know everybody else that's behind one of these wins. And speaking of wins, how about one for Kanan O'Connell in that number 24 Tech Sport Chevy Sonic? Let's get back down to Kurt.
Second win this season, one at VIR, your first at VIR. Wow, great drive. Talk to us about that, because that was fun to watch.
Oh, God, yeah, thanks, man. You know what? I was saying it the first couple laps I did here, man. I love this track. This is the first time I ever been here. It reminds me a lot of the track that I test at a lot, in the sense that the car's always unbalanced, so really familiar and just fun. And that was the biggest part, just have more fun than everybody.
Yeah, it looks like maybe the kind of the rumor around it, you like to maybe lay back a little bit early. Lay back a little bit, save your tires, and it seems like the race even comes to you more, but you kind of just drove away with this one.
Yeah, you know what? I got pretty lucky in the start. Both start and restart worked really well for me, and as soon as I started realizing that I was pulling a little bit of distance, I did exactly that. Just kind of conserve the car, conserve the tires, and bring it home.
The only thing we're missing down here, besides VIR, is your dad to give you a big hug, but he's probably around here somewhere.
Yeah, you know what? You guys just missed him. He came by and stopped. So
he's always lurking.
Absolutely, he's always watching.
Congratulations.
So thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it's fun to see. I mean, Johnny O obviously still at the very top of his game that he's been at the top of for a long time. But there's just an extra little bit of grin on that face on these weekends where he's running with Kanan here. He is one proud papa, and we just saw tremendous evidence why. I mean, that was a large margin that Kanan had even before that last lap deal. But Jake Peipel, good points.
Yeah, got second place there. PJ Gronke into third. Wache back to fourth, the local favorite here. Taylor Handwork in fifth. Jasper Drangler, good recovery from that fire he had at a club event. Got that car rebuilt for Canada. Finishes sixth here. Ted Saley in seventh. And Blake Thompson, after that earlier spin, finishes in eighth.
I think we need to give one more shout-out to the Touring Car B guys as a group, because they were superb in moving out of the way when they could, and when they couldn't, holding their line and letting the faster cars go by. Just some great track awareness and great work by the course marshals here, throwing the blue flags to keep everybody informed. Just well done, a great race. And like I said, folks, we have one busy day that's unfolding here. We're going to step away for just a moment, but in very short order, coming up at 11:10, we have our touring car class second race of the weekend. Then we'll have the lunch break here at the track, and then coming back at, let's say, 1 o'clock, thereabouts, we will start queuing up for the second of the big Sprint X races, and then we'll finish things up here with the second of the GTS races, and then at the end of the day, race 2 for this group. And you know that everybody that was behind the queue a little bit in this race group, they're going to go back, tweak here, massage there, and it's going to be even better still. So make sure you stay and join us. Jeff, thanks so much. Kurt, thanks so much. And folks, again, don't go too far. We're going to be back here in pretty short order for more racing as Pirelli World Challenge invades Lime Rock Park.